I tiptoed into my office. Fuck, there he is. I
Here
can't
we
even
are, my
sneak into
friend.
my own damn office, Dewey Freeman.
I got eyes on you, man.
Good morning. I'm Mark Sylvester. We're the Elder Council.
Good morning, and I'm Dewey Freeman, and we're the Elder Council, and it's so freaking good to see you.
Oh my God, I look forward to this all week long. I've been thinking. I got my second piece published in New Thinking magazine.
Which, by the way, I read, and it was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I wrote that I get this opportunity. I've been, a wannabe writer my whole life and never really sat down and did it. I mean, I did it for work or whatever. And I got this opportunity, this request, hey, would you like to write? And I was like, what am I going to write about? And so I came up with a bunch of ideas, and the editor said, oh, I like that one. And then I submitted it, and it was like, that was very exciting. It was thrilling. And she said, you mentioned something about mentoring. We would like you to write about mentoring. I was like, oh, okay. I got something on mentoring. And so this time, instead of waiting for her, I said, okay, in my thank you, because I was featured. I went to the website, and there at the top, and I was like, wow, this felt great. I said there were two things I wanted to talk about. One of them, I forget what it was. And the second one was how we kind of become professional students. Some of us, we talked about students, teachers, or we go to seminars, we read books, we're getting the latest business, how to be better, all that stuff. There's some of us that are like that. And that the real challenge is, how do you turn that into action? Like, how do you actually integrate it into your life? I said that in a sentence as the second idea. And she just writes back, she goes, yes, please, number 2.
Right on, right on.
So that's what I'd love to talk about today, is the idea that, one, it's great that we're listening to things, we're going to workshops, we're taking classes, we're reading books, we're open to receive. And yet what I see over and over again is nothing happens. The life doesn't change. And I think it's because it doesn't get in their bones. And I thought that today we could talk about, how do you get the lesson in your body, in your bones, so it becomes a part of your life?
When you say that, and you're talking about integration, would you be kind enough to talk just a little bit more about integration? And I'm following what you're saying, because so many times in therapy, people will come in and they'll sort of unload, and a therapist will listen to them. And I think this happens in coaching too. And empathize, and then the person goes, oh, I feel better. But it ends there. And oftentimes the same thing I see with classes and seminars. And it's like people will come in, and it's like they take it in and they go, wow, I feel different. And it ends there. What in your mind, in your world, what's it mean to take that and integrate it for somebody?
So I think what we're searching for is a state change. I need a state change. I need to be better at a thing, so I'm going to take a class. I need to think differently about a thing. I'm going to take a class. I need to become more informed about a thing. I'm going to watch a TED Talk, right? I'm going to, so someone has tried to influence my state, right?
Okay.
It inadvertently or on purpose tried to get me to change my mind, or to do this thing, or to learn a thing, right? So there was an antagonist. Yeah.
to change how you see something or
Sure,
perceive
sure.
something.
A TED Talk is a perfect example. I'm gonna, I have a worldview and I have an idea worth sharing. I'm going to pitch that idea in my 18 minutes, and I'm going to have some call to action at the end, which is to get you to do something, to get you to change your mind, to get you to sign up and volunteer and go get on the environmental bus, whatever that thing is. Or I've taught you how to handle conflict better in a relationship. And so the next time something happens, go use this tip or tool.
Okay.
And so I think when I say integrate it is, I think that there's a missing step that is, how do we help the person we're trying to influence change actually achieve the change? And I think it's through it. And I may be wrong. This might be a learning experience for me. I think it's, how do we get it in their body where it's not in their head? I heard this thing, but now it's here. It's somatically received. There you go, Doc. It's somatically received.
You're learning all the big words.
I know. And I didn't have to, I don't have student debt either.
So
did that explain it? I just want to make sure. Did that?
No, I'm totally getting it. Part of what I think you're talking about, and we have mentioned this previously, is either that conscious competence or unconscious competence, and moving from a state of unconscious incompetence or unconscious competence. I think I said that right. So when you find something that is an idea, what is your process of sending it into your body? What is your process of doing that?
So it is, in my case, it's always been about presence and being really present to receive that thing. So I wasn't somewhere else while the good idea washed over me and I missed it. I'm as present as I can be. That's a work in progress for me. And that I heard that thing, then I'm like, oh, I like that one. So here's the analogy I like. We all know what a dandelion looks like. We pick a dandelion and it has all of its seeds they're all puffed out, and we blow on it. And the dandelion has evolved over the years to have 1,000 of those little seeds, because only one is going to take root. And hopefully that one seed is going to find some ground that is amenable to it. And it's going to get all the things that it needs, protection and light and water and time. And it'll turn into a dandelion. It'll eventually grow into its own dandelion. So if we think of all of those puffs, there's probably a name for them, as the ideas. When I go to a workshop or I read a book, my expectation for myself is only one of those 1,000 things is going to find purchase in my brain. Which one is it? And my expectation my whole life has always been, there will be one thing. I wish it was more, but there's always one thing. And which is the thing? So so for me, I write them down, which is a way of getting it. And then, but I still don't know which one's the one. And it's the time will tell. And that's what's been hitting me is how do we help people find the one? And then what do they do in terms of, like, is the ground prepared for that seed to hit? Does it have all the stuff it needs? Are you consciously nurturing that idea, that new thought, that new skill, the new point of view, so that because you want to profit from it, you want to benefit from that thing, it will make you better. Do you give it time? Do you give it what it needs? I'm writing my story now in real time, sir.
Yeah. So the word that you used is that we consciously nurture.
Yeah.
That's in my world, a really big deal. And I love your idea of, like information comes in. One of the things that, and this is actually taking me a long time to be able to do, is to be able to begin listening with your body, not just gathering information visually, or not just gathering information auditorily, is to be able to take in information through your body, like when you just were speaking. Part of what was going on for me was seeing the picture of a dandelion and seeing the picture of the seeds, and feeling, when I have been in that experience, feeling the air around me, feeling like that maybe the breeze that's taking the dandelion seeds away,
Mm-hmm.
and feeling the experience of, in this case, it was twofold. One, of me doing that, and for instance, all the smells and the feel of the grass and what happens inside of me, but also the feeling of you standing next to me doing it and us chatting about it. So one way to get things into our bones is to listen with our bones. And
I need the secret to life on that one, my friend.
well, we need to put you on a horse. That'll help you. That'll get you there really fast, which may happen in August, my friend.
Yes.
I love that you started this with a somatic feeling, and the idea of integration of ideas is the first piece for me, is the ability to integrate all of our senses together, because we're taught to see, we're taught to smell, we're taught to hear, and many of us see, hear, and smell from here up. Like,
you've left out a sense there, sir. Your little finger is still folded over.
Yeah. What my guess is that when you are in the kitchen and you're doing your incredibly high level chef piece, is, and I don't know this, so this is both a statement and a question. My guess is that 90%, maybe more, of your putting something together is by feel. That you don't have you might have a recipe up, but that you're not going, okay, it's got to be exactly this, but it's like, what happens in your body when you're cooking?
800,000%.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little sidebar, because I know that the people watching this show probably imagine themselves amazing grill masters, right? Men cook meat, fire, right? This is right. They don't see themselves as chefs in the kitchen, or which I would like to do a show and blow that myth away.
Yeah,
most guys go, hey, I can barbecue, I got this down. So I'm going to teach you a trick that I learned when I was 18 years old. So I want you to hold your hand up like this so we can see it. Can you see my hand? Straight out like that. And then this fleshy part of your hand here, I want you to touch it straight at a 90-degree angle like that. Now push that, right? When you push that, there's a little resistance because there's the bone there, right? You can feel that. So when you're cooking steaks, If you touch a steak and it feels like that, it's medium rare. Now I want you to go straight up and push down in that same spot. See how it gives? It's completely gives. That's rare. That's raw.
Ah,
Now I want you to put your hand completely underneath, and it's the bone, right?
That
That's well done.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. But that's using your body to feel, right? I
Right.
can feel
Right.
the thing. I can feel the viscosity in a soup that it's not right. I can feel the texture of the shredded things. Does it have enough texture? Right? Is there, I want something to be velvety, right? So I take your point that feeling. So one of the things that has worked for me in the past is to actually say the thing I want to learn, but I'm actually feeling my body as I'm saying it or shouting it, right? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And what's interesting about it is it depends on how we say it.
Oh, not just that we say it.
Not just that we say it. So as I'm speaking right now, my breath and my sound is coming from where?
Right here.
Yeah, right in here.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to speak, and where's my breath and my sound coming from now?
Yeah, you're in middle voice right now.
I've just cut off from here.
Yeah.
And so if we're saying something to really allow it to sink into our bones, we actually have to say it without a block here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the pieces of allowing things to get into our bones so that we have that level of competency is really allowing ourselves to feel, which I know that's
it just triggered a bunch of guys.
oh, fuck.
Right? I mean, isn't that the point? Is we're just going through life not feeling anything. We're getting all the 4 other senses, but we're not feeling it.
Right. We're not listening, we're not taking in information through our neuroceptive system and through our bodies. When we do that, then it goes into our bodies. It's in our bones more quickly. Now, it doesn't mean, oh, go ahead. You're going to say something, and I don't want to interrupt that.
But we're still not done.
We're still not done. Keep going. That's exactly where I was going to go.
I'm of a belief that to be able to have true behavior modification, because what we're talking about is behavior modification, and I look at it at the organizational level. How do I get an organization to change? Today we're talking about how do we get ourselves to change, to be, and I'm not talking about stopping doing something bad. I'm talking about integrating something good. You've got a tool chest.
Absolutely.
There's something's happening. I'm going to wheel my Stanley up. I'm going to pull the thing out. I'm going to find the right tool, and I know how to use it. And that tool is going to solve, is going to help me in a situation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I don't know where I learned this, but it's a rule of 3s for me, and turns out to be in my experience, if I do something, this new thing I want to learn. So now let's say I've gone through these 5 senses. I feel it. I have a deep desire to want to be good at this thing, or to have this thing this new tool be a part of my life, not sit in the toolbox and never get used again. Right? 21 times. If I consciously, because we talked about consciously nurture this desire to be good at this new skill, this new tool, this new thing, this new way of being. If I do that thing 21 times, and I'm aware that this is the 16th time and the 17th time and the 18th time, by the 21st time, in my experience, that is rooted in my life for the rest of my life.
Right on. So exactly. And what you're talking about is practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is literally that is
Yeah.
we take in and then we practice. And
So why is your business called a practice?
that I'm practicing psychotherapy. You want me to really answer that?
Yeah.
One is because what I do is not based on protocol. Two is what I do is based on relationship. And three is that what practice does is help anchor what we know. It also gives us the foundation to build on. So when I'm working with somebody, I'm helping them practice connection and relationship. And virtually every person I work with, every hour that I spend with somebody, I learn something new. Which,
like today.
Like today.
Like today, right?
And yes, like today. And it's no different than if when I ride, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of hours I've been on the back of a horse riding. And every time I ride, I learn something new.
Are you, a question in that. So you have the competence in being able to willing to receive a lesson every time you get on a horse. Is that a conscious competence or an unconscious competence?
Ooh. Of allowing myself to receive a lesson?
Well, you just said every time I get on a horse, I'm going to learn something. So my question is, do you, at the end of that horse ride, are you aware of that new thing you learned? Or does it just become its unconscious competence, meaning your body is so good at receiving that knowledge, it just goes in and takes it. Thank you very much. And your subconscious may never even tell you.
Actually, I've never been asked that question.
Oh my
before,
gosh.
so
How old are you, sir? In all these
12.
years?
In July, I'll be 72. The answer is yes. There are times where I will get off from a ride and 2 hours later, I'll surprise myself with, oh my God, that happened that way. And this happened. And this was my horse's response. And this was my response.
Conscious competence.
Yeah. Well, when it happened, I didn't know it. So
Right.
It was unconscious.
Right.
But I became aware of it.
Over time.
Yeah. There are other times in the middle of something, I'm going, what I'm trying right now is not getting me what I'm really asking for.
Go back to the tool chest.
Yeah. What is it that I want to try differently here? Interestingly enough, it is many times as minute as moving my hands from here to here, or of applying 1 ounce of pressure here and releasing 1 ounce of pressure there. So
tell me about the satisfaction you feel when you've applied the new knowledge.
So what just happened in my body,
Hmm.
which you might have been able to see, is my energy got incredibly grounded. It's like, it's
Hmm.
almost the same as you walk into the kitchen, you smell something unbelievably delicious, and you take a bite of that incredible. What's coming to mind is like incredible muffin that somebody made with butter on it. And you go, uh, it's that.
I think that there was a sensory treat for you with the muffin and the butter, right? But it was a treat. I like to think of when my cats do something good, I give them a treat. The horse does something good, you give it a treat. We tend to not give ourselves a treat when we do something good. And
Right.
so the sense for me when I applied something new, specifically it's around something new I'm trying to be
Mm-hmm.
better at, like I shut up when I should shut up, or I, right? That's a Sylvester curse. Uh, but when I do it, I give myself a little attaboy, or I have
Yeah.
that sense. And I think it's that checking in with yourself and saying, hey, you did. It's almost like your inner coach, like your coach, like if
You
you're
bet.
you're doing a swing or you're doing whatever it is, and the coach is right there, and he moves your hands from here to here, and you're like, what? And you're like, uh, uh,
Got it.
got it. And so I believe that we don't set little treats for ourselves and recognize, hey, good job, dude. Yeah. And you don't have to say anything to anybody. A
Right.
little nod to yourself anchors that, oh, that's the seventh time. I'm
Right.
going to look for the eighth time I get to use that little thing, and I'm going to get better at it. And it's that consciously nurturing the integration of the education. There you go. There's the
Yeah.
title of our show.
Nurturing the education of integration. That's perfect. So part of what really strikes me with what you're saying, Mark, is at times how brutal we are to
Mm,
ourselves.
most of the time.
And that what I'm wondering about is how many men who are listening to this do something well and they go, well, finally, or they do something well and they go, well, it took me 8 times to get that move right. And or they do something well and and they don't even allow themselves to recognize it. And what I'm going to say is, and this actually, just so everybody knows, this, I've been working with people all week long, clients, and one of the themes is that punishment never changes anything. That was one of the themes of my work this week. And every week there seems to be some particular theme that arises. Not that I bring anything in particular. And so when we do, to your point, when we do something well and we go, well, finally, took you 8 times to do that, that's a punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Instead
Mm-hmm.
of, I got it this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Give yourself an attaboy.
and and there's a difference between, oh, I got it this time, and going, well, it took me 8 times. Or it's like, I got it this time, and actually it only took me 8 times.
Mm-hmm. Let me yes and that a little bit.
Please.
And in a collective action, so when Kimberly and I will do something, we will, at the end of that thing, we'll do, within the military they call it an after action review.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll say, what worked, what needs work, what didn't work.
Mhm.
And we do this incessantly. We're kind of
Right on.
known for this. We all the time. We'll, and we do it. Hell, we'll do it at dinner after when we had the event here in Santa Barbara that you were at. Immediately after everybody left, the three of us, Alan, Kimberly, and I, walked across the street, got a little something to eat. I pulled out the notebook, made 3 columns, and we
Right on.
exhausted. Right. So I'm suggesting that as individuals in yourself, on that 8th time, well, okay, well, what did you do different than the 7th time that made it work this time? That's
Mhm.
consciously nurturing, right? It's
Yes.
like, oh, and which means that at the 7th time you said, why didn't it work?
Mhm.
Oh, because I didn't do X. I didn't shut up. I didn't listen. I didn't, whatever it was, I didn't hold the knife right. I didn't
Mhm.
taste it before, whatever. So now that's in your brain. So the next time, hopefully, that little dandelion seed grew into
Mhm.
competence, right? And
Mhm.
I'm mixing all the metaphors, my friend.
You're doing great.
And then you go, oh, what was it I did? Okay, do that.
Right.
Keep doing that. And the chances are, if you're lucky enough to figure it out by the 8th time, by the 21st time, you've reinforced that enough, you've practiced it
Right.
enough. Grandmaster Wheaton would tell us, it's not about knowing 10,000 kicks. It's being able to do a side kick 10,000 times.
Exactly.
Right.
So let me support and add to that. When I'm doing the 6th and 5th and 7th time, each time I'm doing that and I'm not quite getting what I want, a way, we still have choices on how to nurture ourselves. We can go, oh, well, that was closer. Or we can go, oh, fuck, I missed again. It's like, oh.
You're talking about judgment. We've done a show on judgment because
Yes.
You're now judging, right? Because you could say what worked, what didn't work, what needs work. And we focus on the what needs work. We celebrate the what worked, what didn't work. Typically, in our case, if you were to look at all the hundreds of pages of we call it dub, right? What worked, what didn't work, what needs work. You would see there's like this many things in the what worked, this many things in what didn't work, and about this many in what needs work. Right. That's the balance I've noticed. And if you take it, and we don't judge any of it, it's just, that's the fact. That's what happened.
Right. And if on our way, when we're saying, and I love your idea of in the end doing that, the 3 W's, which by the way, I've learned from you and have incorporated, just so you know that, and so everyone else knows that, is there's also a piece in here of doing that on the fly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I almost got it. Let me try that again. And in relationships, whether it be me writing or a friend or my partner, or there's, when we can do those things with each step, if we can see each step as a conversation versus a pass or fail, that's going to be very helpful, and that will actually allow us to let that sink into our bodies. When we do a pass or fail on something, we actually protect ourselves inside from allowing stuff to sink in.
So you're saying we want to have a non-binary way of integrating this education.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
My friend, I can't wait till our next conversation. This was just exactly what I needed.
Thank you very much. And I will carry this conversation into the rest of my day. Thank you, sir.